Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're doing a deep dive into a really interesting piece called Question from a Middle Schooler.
Yeah, it's this dialogue between a middle school student and Kaka, who was a monastic teacher, very respected.
Exactly. And this is really for you, our listener. If you're someone who likes to get to the heart of things, quickly but properly, get those aha moments without getting totally swamped.
So this deep dive is sort of our way of looking at these bigger ideas in a way that feels, well, accessible.
Right. Our mission here is basically follow this conversation and see how this tradition views its core teachings compared to, say, the physical stuff, the buildings, the rituals.
And it all kicks off with this fantastic question from the student about temples.
Yeah, she asks if suggesting we maybe need fewer temples or similar structures could actually be a sin, given what the core teachings are about. It's a bold question.
It really is. And what's great is how the teacher responds. He doesn't just say yes or no. He jumps straight to an analogy.
The banana.
The banana, exactly. He asks her, when you eat a banana, do you eat the peel or the fruit? Simple, right?
So simple, but it immediately frames the whole thing differently. It forces you to think about what's essential and what's, well, packaging.
Which is such a key skill, isn't it?
Oh.
Distinguishing the message from the medium.
Totally. So the student says, the fruit, obviously. And he's like, okay, do you peel it first? Yes. Why bother peeling it?
And she says, well, you can't eat the peel, which leads straight to his point.
Is the peel useless then?
Not at all. That's the clever part. He explains the peel protects the fruit. It's vital.
He even brings up things like durian or jackfruit peels, the really tough ones. Maybe the tougher the peel, the more delicious the fruit inside.
It's a great metaphor. So applying that back to the temples.
Yeah. Are the temples, the rituals, all that,
Yeah.
are they the actual fruit, the core teaching?
Right.
Or are they the peel?
And the teacher's warning is clear. Don't mix them up.
Right. You wouldn't just eat the peel and throw away the banana.
Definitely not. So he says the trick is knowing which is which, and crucially, knowing how to peel it right, how to get to the good stuff.
And then he adds something quite personal, doesn't he?
He does. He admits he's not personally big on, fancy buildings or elaborate ceremonies.
But he sees that other people find them helpful. They connect through those things.
Which is important. It shows an understanding that there isn't just one way to connect with the essence.
Yeah. And his advice, don't waste energy arguing about the peel.
Focus on telling the difference between the peel and the fruit. That's the main thing.
And help other people see it too, so they don't accidentally chuck out the fruit,
Mm-hmm. Then he uses bowing po, atan, as another example of these outward forms.
And he's clear, he doesn't make it mandatory.
No, not at all. He even points back to the Buddhist time. People reacted all sorts of ways during teachings.
Some bowed, some put their palms together.
Some just sat there, some were probably just walking by.
It really paints a picture of diversity right from the start. And leaving two people left with stronger faith, some lost it, some changed their minds.
It shows it's always been a personal journey, hasn't it?
But then he talks about the purpose of bowing from his own experience.
Right. After years of practice, he sees it as a way to reduce ego, to find humility, know your place.
So it can be a tool for inner work, not just an empty gesture.
Definitely. And he makes this interesting observation. He feels more inclined to teach or connect with people who do bow.
So the outward action can actually create a better connection sometimes.
It seems like it can foster a certain readiness, maybe. But then he asks the student and asks you, listening, do some people just bow without thinking, just follow the crowd?
And she agrees straight away. Of course, some do.
So again, it comes back to understanding. Bowing, temples,
Yeah.
they're not the core, not the fruit itself.
But if you understand them, if you do them with intention, they can help you get to the fruit. They have meaning then.
Exactly. It's all about the why.
Okay, so then he brings up Borobudur.
Yeah, that huge site in Indonesia. Massive. All those stupas.
World's largest religious site, he says. But now, mostly tourists, right? No monks living there.
And he states his belief quite clearly. True religion isn't just in objects or buildings.
Which loops back perfectly to the student's original thought about maybe needing fewer temples. So he asks her, what was your idea? What would you do with them?
And her idea is turn them into public parks.
Which I love. And the teacher's reaction is great, too.
He's really positive about it. He likes the idea of public spaces, trees, animals benefiting everyone.
It feels very practical and community-minded. Makes you wonder if he sees a place for active religious life within those structures, too. Or if repurposing is the main value he sees now.
That's a good point. The text focuses more on his positive reaction to the park idea itself, this idea of public good. And it leads to another thought.
Could existing temples maybe become more like parks? Add more trees, be more open?
And the student seems open to that, so it's like finding ways for the peel to better serve the fruit for more people today.
Then there's another analogy, the wooden box.
Ah, yeah, the plain box versus the carved one.
The carved one just looks more valuable because you see the effort, the skill, the time someone put into it.
And he connects that to beautiful temples or religious sites. Their beauty actually encourages people to care for them, maintain them.
So the artistry, the peel, in a way, helps preserve the space where the fruit can be accessed. It makes practical sense.
It does. It explains maybe why that tradition of ornate places developed.
Okay, so let's get back to that sin question, merit and demerit sin. How does he define those?
This is really key. Merit, he says, is about purifying your heart, your mind.
And demerit, or sin, that's what causes your mind to deteriorate, to become depressed or troubled.
So it's all about the internal state, the effect on your mind.
Right, so applying that, wanting to create public parks for everyone's benefit,
That's purifying the heart. That's merit.
but feeling angry and just wanting to tear down all the temples out of frustration.
That harms the mind, causes distress. That's demerit or sin. And for bowing. If you bow with understanding, wanting humility, wanting to learn, that's merit. Purifying.
But if you're just bowing because everyone else is, mindlessly.
Well, he tells the student to look at her own heart, her own mind and intention in that moment. That's where the answer lies.
So merit and sin aren't just in the act itself. It's about your thoughts, your words, your mental state behind the action. Intention is everything.
Absolutely paramount.
And by the end, he asked her, did I answer your question?
And she says 100%, which is pretty amazing clarity from such a dialogue.
Yeah. And the person writing about this exchange, they're clearly impressed by the student.
Deeply impressed, calls her question profound, maybe more so than many adults. They highlight her clarity, her confidence, politeness, thoughtfulness.
That's what she really listened.
Exactly. And the writer feels this real pride and happiness seeing a young person thinking about nature, about benefiting others, and being interested in the actual core, the essence.
That final line, reflecting on the Dharma moving to the next generation.
Yeah.
It's quite moving.
It really is. And here's where it gets really interesting, I think.
Go on.
Just how much wisdom comes out of that seemingly simple question and the teacher's skill. Using these everyday things, a banana, a box, to explain really deep concepts.
It's masterful, isn't it? What's fascinating here is that core distinction he keeps drawing between the essence and the form.
Yeah, the fruit and the peel, he keeps guiding her and us, to look past the surface. What's the real meaning? What's the intention?
And that feels so relevant, doesn't it? For you listening, it's about developing that ability to see the core value in things, in any system, any tradition, maybe even in your work or hobbies.
Right. To ask yourself, what's the actual fruit here? And what's just the peel, the packaging, maybe even a distraction sometimes?
So what does this all mean for you? It makes you think, doesn't it, about the structures and rituals in your own life or the things you engage with.
Are they helping you connect with something deeper, or are they maybe obscuring it?
Are there peels you're focused on? Fruits you're missing?
And this raises an important question, I think, about how core principles relate to their outward forms in a world that's always changing.
Yeah, how do traditions adapt without losing their essence?
Exactly. It encourages you to think about how you can cultivate that deeper understanding, that real intention in whatever you do or believe, making sure you're reaching for the fruit, not just holding the peel.